Thank you for tuning in to TTV. I'm your host, Toya. And today it is October 17, 2021, and it is 12:43 a.m. in the morning. So I know you're thinking to yourself, Toya, why are you up this early in the morning doing a video? Well, I'm going to tell you. I was inspired to share with you guys, and I want to go over some information with you that will hopefully help you, because that's one of the things that is what this whole channel is about, is inspiring people to do better in their lives, and provide you with information for your mind, body, and soul. And including in your mind, body, and soul is also with enlightening yourself with reading, the creativity that comes from that, and the release from entering in a different world. So I want to share with you what I do and how I go about doing it. So first and foremost, I'm going to call this Reading Time with Toya. So this is going to be my discussion. These videos will be a little longer than the normal ones. I know I typically try to keep my videos about 10-15 minutes long, but these are probably going to be longer just because I'm going to go over the books and things that I've listened to for the week. Now, the job I have right now is very demanding. I cannot sit down and read a book. And then after work, I have, the other things that I try to do throughout the week that do not allow me the time to sit and read a book like I would like to. When I tell you guys I have books all over my house, I think, yep, I have one right here that I had just got. I haven't even opened. I haven't even cracked it open. But I literally have books all over my house that I want to sit down and read, and I haven't gotten to it yet. But I am able to keep up and still read and get that time in by listening to audiobooks while I work. So it helps eliminate the stress because I'm entering in a different world. And although I can focus on what I'm doing, it's just like when you're listening to music, you can listen to the music and do your work. I can listen to the books and do my work as well. So, and it helps me to focus and not stress so much about what it is I'm doing. And it makes the day go by a bit quicker. So, before we get started on that, I am going to do a shout out for my own self first before we get started. So I wrote a book. It's called T's Collection. It is available on Amazon for $7.99. The link is below if you want to go out there and purchase it. I also have a stack of them. I think it's probably about 20 of them, 25 that I have myself. So if you would like a signed copy of it, you can message me. You can go to the Facebook page and message me, or you can, I think there's a way to message through YouTube. But in either way, get in contact with me and we can make arrangements if you wanted a signed copy of it. But this is my first baby that I put out, T's Collection. And it's a collection of works by me. So there are songs two songs. I have poems in there, and I have a bunch of short stories in there. The thing that's unique about the stories that I like so much is they basically all started with a dream. I had a dream, I woke up, and I started typing it out and writing it out, and next thing you know is this whole story. So there's a couple of them in here that I really like that are some of my favorites. It's three of them actually that are my favorite short stories in here. One is Clever Girl. It's about a girl who goes to the liquor store. And yes, I said liquor store because that's how we say it here in Detroit. But she goes to the liquor store and passes her winning lottery ticket to the clerk behind the plexiglass to cash it in. And instead of cashing it in, he takes it. So it's how she gets back at him is why it's called Clever Girl. So another one in there is called The Group. This one I actually wrote. I was in a creative writing class and I wrote this one for the class, and it's about a guilt group. So it's a bunch of people that get together and they all have some guilt that they're holding on to. It's some incident that happened in their life that they feel responsible for and guilty over, and they're holding on to it. And so that's what the group is about. And I remember when I wrote this, we used to have to we had to share it with the class, and the class would read it and critique you. And when it got to me to discuss the day I turned that one in, my teacher said, he said, have you ever been in a group before? Like, have you ever been in a therapy group session before? And I was like, oh, crap. I'm like, no. He's like, well, let me tell you, I've been in several, more than I should, than anybody should claim to have been in. And he said, and you nailed it. That the way you portrayed is exactly how it is when you go into these groups. So I was like, hey, kudos to me. So, but that one is a guilt group, and I remember writing that, and there are points in there, because I'm not going to give you guys too many details, but there was a point in there where I'm sitting there typing it out, and I just got tears coming down. I'm sitting there crying as I'm writing it out because of what's going on in the story. So it is a bit of a tearjerker. Um, and then the last one is one of my favorites, which is why it's last. It's called Just a Day at the Gallery. And it's about a guy who goes to a museum and he ends up with coming out with more than he went in with. So he ends up coming back out of this museum with basically an assignment from God. And the way it goes about in the story is pretty unique, I think. And it's one of my favorites. So pick it up. And like I said, if you want a signed copy, I do have a few. So message me and I can get you a signed copy out. But just to give you, let's just see where it lies. Okay, what is this? Okay, this is actually Guild Group. Okay, well, let me see what else is in here. Okay, Clever Girl. Let's start at the beginning, and I'll just read a little bit of this, and then that's it. Okay. She walks into the liquor store smiling broadly. The store was set up like most liquor stores. When you first walk in, chips, crackers, and other food items were to the left, and the coolers in the back and on the sides of the wall full of pop, beer, and wine. The right side of the store was the counter where the clerk stood behind 3 inches of plexiglass. She walks over to the lottery counter and happily waited her turn. The lottery winning was right on time. She had bills to pay, food to buy, and a car to fix. $5,000 was more than enough to do it. She would even have money left over to save for the first time in years. She watched a young man enter the store heading for the back cooler of beer. He wore baggy jeans that needed a belt, a t-shirt down to his knees, and a black jacket. She watched the young man grab a bag of chips and head to the counter. May I help you? The clerk asked. Yes, she said excitedly. I want to cash this in. Can you cash it or do I have to go downtown? The clerk took the lottery ticket and scanned it, and then he tucked the ticket on the other side of the machine out of sight. Hey, what are you doing? She asked, frowning. What? He asked her, his raised eyebrows. You know what? Give me my ticket back, she demanded. What ticket? He said. The ticket you just tucked away on the other side of the machine, she said, tapping the glass with her finger. Man, just give her stuff back, the young man in the baggy jeans called out. So that's just the beginning of Clever Girl. And like I said, there's poems in here, a couple of songs that I did. There is a short story in here that is a little provocative and a little explicit. It's the only one though. But like I said, this is on Amazon for $7.99. So that's my self plug. As far as the app I use, I wanted to go over that with you guys so that if you wanted to download it, you can. I'm not a sponsor. I don't get paid for any of this information I am providing to you guys, but I did want to share this with you. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. Okay, that's about probably as clear as, oops. It's about as clear as I'm gonna get it. Really? Okay, let me pull this back up. Oh, is this acting up? Okay, there it is. So I don't know if you can see that very clear, but that is the Libby app. It actually says Libby by Overdrive. So it's a purple background. You'll see her head and a book. And when you open it up and install it, this will be the home page. So these are all, I'm sorry guys, I don't have the best cameras. But these are all books, okay? These are basically all books that you can listen to, okay? Or read. I have it set for audio because that's what I like to listen to is the audio because I don't have time to read. But you can download it and you can listen to different books. And what I like about this is it works with your public library card. So all you need is your library card, and you can get Libby. I think you do have to download or register through OneDrive before you can get to Libby, but you can actually go through it and you can listen to books. And when you start to pick books, you end up with a list. Like this is a list of the 2 books that I've borrowed that I've been listening to. That's in my shelf right now, and I listen to these while I'm at work. So, did I mention these videos are probably going to be longer? So, reading time with Toya is going to be longer than the normal videos because I'm actually going to be discussing books and going over them with you guys and giving my opinion. But I listen to the books while I'm at work. You know, some people listen to music. I listen to audiobooks. It helps me focus. You know, it puts you in a different mindset to where you can go into a different world and, you know, kind of relieve some stress. It takes the stress out of the day-to-day activity with work. So I'm not so panicky about it. I'm not focusing so much on time and I can actually focus on what it is I'm doing by, you know, distracting myself listening to the audio, and I can get my work done better because I'm able to focus on it better. I know that doesn't work for everybody, but it works really well for me. And if it does work for you, kudos, awesome. You can do this just like me. Um, if it's a really good book, though, I'll continue listening to it. Or if I'm close to the end, I'll continue listening to it while I'm in the car or while I'm cooking. I just got a desktop speaker that I use that I play through my phone so that I can listen to the audiobooks. Um, the thing I like about it is it will tell you how long the audiobooks is. So this first one that's on here, it was called The Ballad of Black Tom, and it's 3 hours long. It was actually an interesting story. Um, that book was about a black man back in the day when, not during slavery, but right after, where there was still a lot of segregation, there was still a lot of persecution of black people, and his experiences that he went through and how he handled it. If you like supernatural, or I shouldn't say supernatural, but superhuman books, or I say there's some supernaturalness into it as well. But if you like books like that, this was a good one. I did enjoy it. It was only 3 hours long. It did take me all day Friday to listen to it, though, even only being 3 hours long because just how my day went. Um, but it was a decent book. I would recommend listening to it. It was a good one. And again, that was called The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavalle. That's Lavalle. But this is basically what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go over the books that I listened to and give you an idea of what I thought of them. Um, I don't know why I have a different app popping up on me, but whatever. So I kind of got inspired by this. Like I said, I'm up here. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm coming to you with this information, and it's basically because I was inspired to do this. So I'm actually going to put this in my phone to make sure I do this every week on Sunday. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go over these books with you guys and let you know what it was I listened to. Um, there's another book that I started. I only started it, so I can't really tell you. That's the other thing. Half the time, I don't even pay attention to what these books are about. But I just sit there, I pick one, and I'll listen to it. And if I don't like it, then I don't have to feel bad that I spent money on it or anything else. I can just stop listening and go back to something else. The other book that was in here is called The Changeling, also by the same author, Victor Lavalle. That one is 14 hours long. But I wanted to go over some of the ones because I didn't really listen to a lot of them this week, but I wanted to go over some of the ones that I really, really enjoyed. Um, One series, because there's a couple of series that I really enjoyed listening to. So one, of course, is Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. I love listening to it. I love the world that J.K. Rowling created. I love the world that she did, the characters that she created. They're just, it's a nice place for me to go into. And of course, it's that story of good versus evil. It's about the magic, about the kids, you know. And if you're not familiar with Harry Potter, I don't know where you've been. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But if you're not familiar with Harry Potter, it is a story about a 12-year-old boy who finds out that he's a wizard and ends up going off to wizarding school. And he's connected to one of the worst wizards ever born. He has a connection with them, and it's basically his journey throughout his adolescent years, I guess you can say, because I think in the final book he's only like 18 or 19 years old. But basically his journey through just, you know, becoming a wizard, finding out who he is, finding out what that connection is, and just growing. And one of the things I like about it is I love stories, I love series and stories where you can see the characters grow from the beginning to the end. You can see where they matured. You can see where they got better. You can see where, you know, their personality comes out and they come into who they truly are. And the Harry Potter series delivers on all of that. Um, One of my favorite characters, because there's so many, so many, but one of them was Moody, who was kind of like their version of the police. So he was like a detective, if you wanted to correlate it to what we actually have in the real world. And I just love his quirkiness. Like, he was just awesome. I'm gonna just leave it at that because if you listen to it, I don't want to mess you up. It has some really good villains in there as well, like Bellatrix. I loved her as a villain. Like, she was one of the best villains. Like, I loved her. And more importantly, when you listen to audiobooks, the person narrating the story, it does make a huge difference. And Jim Dale is by far, hands down, one of the best narrators there has ever been. I'm telling you guys, he has a different voice for every single character, so you don't have to worry about who was talking. I can't distinguish what's going on. No, he has a different voice for every single character. When I tell you, he is a phenomenal narrator. He is. He did such an excellent job that I went and I looked up everything that I can listen to by him that he put out. If I could find it, I listened to it, because he's just that good at what he did. So that was his art, that was his craft, that's his talent, and he does an excellent job at it. So that's always one that I recommend is the Harry Potter series. I will listen to one of the books, if not the whole series, at least once a year or a few times out the year if I'm only listening to one of the books. But it's one of my favorite series. Um, and again, that's the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, uh, read by Jim Dale. Another one series that I love is The Grave Stories, and it's by Darynda Jones, and it is read by, I'm trying to see what her name is. Um, well, let me just play this sample because I'm sure it'll tell me. And you can kind of hear. Lorelei King. Yep. As soon as I heard it, I realized. She does an excellent job with these stories too. And the Grave series by Darynda Jones, I love him. It's about this girl who's a Grim Reaper and a portal for the dead to go through. And again, it's a story about her finding out that they introduce you to her life as a Grim Reaper and what she does because she's a detective and she helps her father and her aunt. Well, she helped her father when he was a police officer. When he was a detective, she would help him solve a lot of the homicides because she can talk to the dead. And now she's helping her uncle. And it starts out with basically giving you an introduction of her and what it is she does. And then it takes you through her growth experience and finding out different things about herself, that she's more than just a Reaper. So I love this story. It's one that I keep going back to because they're really easy reads, um, or really easy to listen to. And most of them, I think, are 9, 10 hours. They're not very long. Yep, 7 hours, 10 hours. So they're not very long. So it's easy to listen to. And then there's another one that I love listening to, and I'm trying to find it because they just updated this app. But there is a way for you to go through to the books that you have on loan. There's ones that you can put on hold, and when you get these books, you get them for 14 days, and some of them you can renew if they're not in high demand. Then you can renew them. But there was one that I read. I really loved it. It was something like Bone Blood. I'm trying to find it for you guys. I've listened to it like 3 different times. I like love this story. But it's about this girl who is in this village that's by the water, and they're struggling to make ends meet. And everybody there's basically a prejudice against people who were magical before they had the magic taken away. And it's the story about her journey and trying to help her family. Let me just see if I can do. But it's a journey of her family and, trying to help her family out. And she ends up coming across Children of Blood and Bone. Yep, here it is. It's 18 hours long, but it's by Tomi Adeyemi. It's Adeyemi, and it's read by Bahni Turpin. Turpin is Bahni, and then the last name is Turpin. But it's the Children of Blood and Bone. So you can see it a little bit on there. But anyway, and I love this story because, like I said, you can see her start out where she's this fiery, you know, has a good heart, but she's quick to judge, quick to get mad, quick to get angry, and you can see her journey throughout the whole thing. So she's trying to help her family out by going to this market to sell this fish that she caught to help the family so that they can pay their taxes because of her, because she's a magi, which means she was born of magic, but she doesn't have any magic because the king had took it away. But it's a really good story. I really enjoyed it. And again, like I said, I've listened to it already 2 or 3 times. And, you know, kind of want to listen to it again. I think I will. I'll just put that in my cart. But it's a wonderful story and I love it. So those are just a couple of the books that I've listened to and that I've gone through on the Libby app. And like I said, you can join it. You can listen to it while you're in the car. You can listen to it while you're cooking. You can listen to it while you're working instead of music. But it is a way for you to get back into reading without actually having to physically pick up the book and read it, but you can still hear the stories. I will say that some narrators are better than others. But once you get used to hearing other people read these books to you, you kind of can get past the fact that they might not be so good at reading this out loud. You can kind of get past that and hear the story and, make your determinations when you're listening to it, like, oh, this is who's talking, this is what's going on. So, but that's what I wanted to share. So next week, the books that I listen to, I will go over with you guys. Like I said, I'm listening to Changeling. That's one of them. I don't know what else I'm gonna end up reading or listening to. Like I listen to some of everything. It could be from Dean Koontz and Stephen King to, like I said, J.K. Rowling to the books I just talked about today. I'm not biased. If I will say that if it doesn't catch my attention within the first hour of listening to it, then I pretty much send it back and start something else. There have been a few times where the narrator that was on there, I just couldn't listen to at all. Like I couldn't do it for whatever reason. I couldn't do it. And so I'll send those back too. But again, if you use it through your library card, sorry, but you use it through your library card, so it's not a big deal. Um, and it's a way of using those library resources as well. Even through OneDrive. OneDrive is amazing. Like, you can learn languages on there. They have tutoring programs on there. Like, OneDrive has a lot on there to offer as well as far as the library resources go. So I really recommend both of the apps. The OneDrive, because I'm trying to learn Thai off of the OneDrive. Their app, like I said, they have Pronunciator as part of their language tool to where you can learn another language. And so that's what I'm trying to do for when I go to Thailand. And like I said, you get the Libby app to where you can listen to audio. If your kids need help with math or English, they have those on there as well on OneDrive. So it's overall, it's a wonderful app and I recommend it. So that's it for this week. Again, I'm gonna put the link below for the book for T's collection. To the Amazon link. Again, it's $7.99. If you want a signed copy of it, you have to get in touch with me and we can work that out. And I'm going to post these every Sunday. This is going to be a Sunday thing where I'll discuss the books for the week. Again, these videos will be longer because of the fact I am going into detail talking about these books. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you check out the Libby app and OneDrive. Like I said, I do not get paid for either one. I'm not a sponsor for either one of them. It's just something I enjoy doing and listening to, and I'm sharing that with you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you check it out. And I love you guys, and I will talk to you later because I do have another video I want to do with you guys. So I will be posting that as well today. So you'll get two today. Double time. All right. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.